Okay, welcome everyone to another edition of the Latter-day Saint Mission Prep podcast. My name is Jimmy Smith. I'm your host of the podcast. With me today is my son, Abraham Smith. Today we're going to be talking to Abe about his upcoming mission. He leaves this coming week in just a couple of days to be a Nauvoo Performing Missionary. So he'll be spending the summer in Nauvoo, entertaining the tourists and giving his testimony through music for sure, maybe through word as well. His testimony of the restored gospel in that historic place of Nauvoo, Illinois. So welcome to the podcast. Welcome, Abe. Why don't you introduce yourselves to the audience, and then we'll get into the points that we want to talk about with the Nauvoo Performing Mission.
For sure. Hi, I'm Abe Smith. I'm 19 years old. I'll be turning 20 in about a month or so, and I'm going to Texas A&M Commerce to study music education. And then, as he said, I'm doing the Nauvoo mission this summer.
Excellent. Thanks, Abe. So we're really excited about this. I think Abe is too. It's going to be an interesting experience. We're anxious to hear about it. So at the conclusion of the summer in August, we might do another episode, and Abe can tell us more details about what it was like to be a performing missionary. Did you mention what instrument you play?
Oh, I play trumpet.
Okay, so Abe's a master trumpet player. I'm not a musician. They inherited all their music skill from their mother, he and the other kids. But anyway, yeah, thus we have the picture of the trumpet behind us in the Nauvoo temple. Abe's older sister, Hannah, is an art major and did this artwork for us. So props to her for that. Okay, so let me refer quickly to the agenda on my screen. Okay, so Abe is going to be in the Nauvoo Brass Band, and that's one aspect of being a Nauvoo Performing Missionary. So Abe, why don't you briefly tell the audience what is it? What is this Nauvoo Performing Missionary program, at a high level, and then what are like the different parts of it? And then you will be in the brass band. So why don't you walk the audience through all of that? Can you do that?
Yeah, of course. So there are a few different types of missionaries in Nauvoo. There's going to be some senior missionaries that are just regular senior missionaries. There are tour guides who give tour guides of all the different historic buildings. And then there's the category that I'm in, which is the performing missionaries. And the performing missionaries are made up of two parts. The stage, actually it's made up of three parts. It's the stage performers / actors, the audio electronic technicians who do all the sound work and maybe light work and other technical stuff. And then there's the brass band, which is based off of this historical brass band, but it also has a couple woodwinds too. But that's what I'm in, the brass band.
Okay, very good, cool. So you'll also notice Abe's growing his hair. He doesn't have a typical really short missionary cut. That's actually intentional. They told him back in January or February when you started doing the meetings to let your hair grow out and let your sideburns grow in and stuff like that. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They said they want it to be full and not modern, just to be more realistic to how it was back in the 1840s or whenever.
Cool.
And a lot of the stuff you'll see that we tell you about, a lot of it is to give the feeling that the tourists are actually in 1840s, 1850s Nauvoo.
So you'll be wearing kind of pioneer gear, like shirt and pants and boots. You had to buy. They gave you like a list of things to buy, right? I'm probably jumping ahead on our agenda, but so they want you to look authentic, dress authentic, even have authentic like 1840s hair and so forth as you play in the brass band. And I think that goes for all the performers. Like you said, there's there's other tour guides, and there's other singing and dancing performing missionaries that are there. There's a pageant for, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe a full month in July. There's a pageant there, and anyway, okay, cool. So so you'll be doing the brass band. Let's go back to the agenda. Okay, so you'll be there. You leave May 1st. Here we're recording this April 28th of 2024. So you leave on Wednesday. You're flying into St. Louis with a bunch of other people, and then from there you guys are taking a bus up to Nauvoo. It's a couple hours drive north of St. Louis. You'll be there from May 1st through
August 7th.
You and all the other missionaries. And it's a full-time mission in terms of, like, it's not your typical full-time mission for like 2 years where you're a missionary, but for these over 3 months of the summer, it's a full-time mission in terms of you have a schedule. You get up at 6:30, you do companionship study, you practice your instrument, you go do performances in the town and for the tourists and so forth. And anyway, it's your whole day and week and month is all very scheduled. So it's a full-time gig in that respect, correct?
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, I'll just add a little bit about the schedule if we're not talking about that later.
No, you can talk about it now.
So for the schedule, what we're going to do is we're going to spend the first 3.5 weeks of May just rehearsing. So we're just rehearsing songs, and then the actors are going to practice all their shows. I think within a few days, though, the band will be able to get on the bandwagon and play songs in the morning. But for basically the whole month of May, we'll be rehearsing, at least for the band. It's like 9 hours out of the day. You get an hour and a half for meal breaks. And then at the end of May is when the performances start. And that's when we have bandwagon performances in the morning, stage concerts in the afternoon, like little dancing around and stuff. And then the evening sit-down concerts.
Cool. Okay, very good. So, okay. So we've given you a good overview for the audience of what the Nauvoo Performing Missionary Program is. So let's rewind a little and talk about the process of becoming a Nauvoo Performing Missionary. What made you decide you wanted to do that? What are the differences between this kind of mission and a full-time proselytizing mission? We can talk about that. I know you had to audition to be in the Nauvoo Performing Missionary Program. So let's go back to the beginning and start there. What was the process like to become a Nauvoo Performing Missionary?
All right. So our family had gone to Nauvoo back in 2019, and I heard that there was going to be a brass band there, and we weren't able to see them, but it was something we knew about then. And so a year or so ago, about 2 years ago, actually, my mom was suggesting to me that I could maybe try out and do that. This was spring 2023, and she was hoping that I could do it for last summer, but we didn't know like the timeline then. But we found out that the auditions actually open in the summer before. So I'm serving this summer 2024. If you want to audition for it, you have to audition for it the summer before is when you start preparing stuff. So last summer 2023, I prepared a couple of audition things. You make a video and send it to them, and
you post the video on YouTube, I think, and send the link.
Yes.
And there's probably a website. I'll put it in the show notes or on the web page so you have a link. But there's information somewhere online about how to apply for this. We'll get everybody links for that.
Right. And at least what I had to do is I had to prepare 2 excerpts, and I just did 2 short etudes. You have to do like a chromatic scale and then any other various musical talents that you had. So I just showed that I can also do jazz as well as classical. And then I had to prepare a little paragraph about why I want to be in the Nauvoo Brass Band. And should I talk about that, my motivations?
Yeah, let me wrap one thing up on the audition process. So yeah, it was like August of 2023 was the deadline to perform in the summer of 2024.
That's when I turned it in. So I think it was due in October.
So there was a deadline in October.
Deadline in October.
Okay.
I just turned it in early, so I don't right before school started.
You were starting school in August, and we just wanted to get it over with. That's why we did it. But still, it was only a month or two early. October of the year prior is the deadline where you have to get your basically your audition tape sent in, your YouTube link sent to the proper people so they can see you and hear you. But even and so that's like the first step. You'll fill out the application, say why you want to do it, write a little essay, fill out some information, send them the link of your performance, and then but that's just the first like hurdle, right? If they like you, if they like what you say and like your video and your performance, then there's still more tryouts.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So how they explain it on the website, at least, was you send in an audition tape, and that's like round one auditions. And then in usually December, you'll get callbacks, and they'll call you back and say if you made it to the next round or not. At least this year, I don't know if it's like this every year, but for this year, the round two auditions only applied to the stage actors and singers. So if everyone who was in the brass band right now found out in December. I found out in December that that I got in.
That you were in. Okay.
And so January, like the second, I think it was the second Saturday of January this year, we had callbacks. And so all the actors came and they did callback auditions. And while they were doing second round auditions, the brass band went to the primary room and we had our first rehearsal.
Okay, so you turned in your application and audition tape in fall of 2023. In December of 2023, you got word that you were accepted and you were in the Nauvoo Performing Missionary program. For you, because you were a member, you'd be in the brass band. So then in January, you were attending BYU and living in Provo, and everyone in that area, starting January of 2024, so a little earlier this year, started meeting every Saturday. You were rehearsing and learning songs and stuff. And for the stage actors, you said there was like one more round of like auditions before they knew if they were in or not. But then they were doing the same thing. They were meeting every Saturday. Or do you not know?
No, that was just the one Saturday that we did.
Oh, okay.
And then throughout this whole semester, January, February, March, and even a little bit of April, we had Zoom meetings like every other Sunday. And those were just information meetings, telling us our role, our assignments, any place to ask and answer questions. And those were usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours long.
And those were on Sunday, you said?
Yeah, Sunday evenings.
Online meetings. Okay,
Online,
cool.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, very good. So let's see, where does that take us then? You had sent in your audition, you were accepted, and anything else you want to say before we start talking about the technical application, which we're not going to touch on a lot, but anything else we need to know, or that the audience might want to know if they were thinking about doing this?
Just make sure your application is turned in, because I know when I turned it in, I don't think I necessarily got a confirmation that it was turned in. And so just be vigilant and careful to know, and be in contact with people to know that your stuff was turned in.
So that's a good point. You submitted the application, but you received no confirmation email. Hopefully that was a mistake or that's changed. But there were, on the church's website about the Nauvoo Performing Missionary Program, there were phone numbers or email addresses or both, and people you were in contact with all along. For example, I think you emailed the person running the program and said, hey, I play the trumpet and I want to do it. And we had some back and forth dialogue with them before they even saw your official application. Is that right?
Yeah. So I guess just don't be afraid to reach out to people. They're super nice people.
Cool. Okay, let's look at our agenda. Let's see. We talked about the application process and the tryouts and your weekly meetings. So yeah, let's talk next about what's the official application process like with the church look like, because it's a bit unusual. So you want to be expecting that. So let's go there next, Abe.
So so in December, you find out if you get callbacks or if you get into the brass band, but that is not the official call from the church. You don't get like a letter. It's just like a phone call or an email.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you will get that eventually.
You will get that eventually. So starting in January, February, kind of really as early as you can, you have to put in a senior service mission application.
Okay, yeah. And that's not a mistake.
Senior.
It for whatever reason, the church treats this as in terms of the application process, as a senior service mission, senior church service mission, which has caused some delays and in the process, and is a bit confusing for a lot of people. So
yeah, so the application, if you've seen the regular proselytizing mission application, it looks nothing like that. The regular proselytizing mission has like multiple pages where you have to fill out forms, documents.
Yep.
Whereas the senior service mission application is like 2 pages, and it doesn't require any medical documents or do it. I just did it all in one sitting, I think. Mm-hmm. They give you a number that you have to input into their system, and then it pulls up an opportunity for a senior service mission. You click on that, fill out the application, and what I found out is that no matter what you put on the application, it will send your recommendation to the ward that your records are in. And that's where we've run into trouble, is because I was in the Provo YSA ward, and it was sent to my Provo YSA bishop, but then I came home to Texas, and we've had troubles trying to get it recommended by my Texas bishop.
Yeah, and we're still running into trouble because when he was in Provo and had submitted it, his Provo bishop and stake president couldn't see it and had no record of it. And so then he comes home. We thought it'd be here in Texas. The Texas people said they could see the application but couldn't do anything with it. And now it's back with the Provo, even though he's living here. It's a mess. So we're sitting here the Sunday before he goes to Nauvoo on Wednesday, and he still doesn't have the official call from the church. Our stake president said, don't worry about it. It'll come through. He's still going to get set apart as a missionary Tuesday night. So you will meet with your your stake president, who will set you apart as a full-time missionary, and he'll go to Nauvoo. He has his badges already. They sent him his missionary name tags in the mail. And anyway, there's just
my suggestion,
a lot of paperwork drama.
Yeah. So my suggestion to anyone who does this is be super vigilant and super on top of talking with your bishop, talking with the correct bishop and stake president, because many bishops have not done this process of doing Nauvoo service missionaries. And so there's like different pages. And so just stay in contact with them.
Yeah, and do it early and try and get it done. I mean, Abe did his a month or two ago, and he's still running into these problems. But anyway, okay. But we have faith that that'll all work out. That it won't be an issue.
Hopefully, we'll have an update in a couple months when I come back.
Yeah, when he gets back in August, hopefully we'll say he was a full like official missionary anyway. Okay, so let's briefly talk about the costs, because they are different than a full-time proselytizing mission. And I also want to talk about the checklists and assignments that they gave you, and then we'll get to travel and housing as well. But let's start with the cost and program fees and how that's different from a regular mission.
So, as many of you probably know, missions, regular full-time 2-year proselytizing missions, require monthly payments, and usually it's pretty standardized for all missionaries. And each year they might go up, but
it's $400 a month as of right now, and has been for many years. At some point, it might go up, but that's not the case for you in this mission.
Correct. So it is a one-time $1,000 fee for the all Nauvoo Performing missions, and so we paid that, funnily enough, through Venmo in mid-April, so the month before leaving. So it's just $1,000 full time,
and that basically covers your housing and
basically, your plane.
Oh yeah, because they're flying him there, and they'll fly him home, and housing while he's there. So it's probably a pretty good bargain. Maybe it's subsidized elsewhere. But anyway, but for us, for our family, for Abe, it's $1,000, and that covers his travel there. It covers his housing while he's there and his travel home. It does not cover food while you're there. So
right.
and so he'll have to, he himself or with family, we can send him money to buy groceries every week and so forth. So that's a good segue. Let's talk about the housing arrangements and situation there. Do you know much about that?
A tiny bit. I know so I don't know how regular missions are, but I think sometimes they'll give you like mission funds. That's not necessarily the case in the Nauvoo when you just have your own money.
Yep.
And every P day, we're gonna get in a little van and drive 30 minutes to the nearest Walmart.
Yeah, and P days, are there Mondays?
Yeah.
Do you know that? Okay, so
yeah.
Similar to other missionaries, it's on a Monday.
Yeah, and then just laundry once a week, groceries once a week.
And you'll be assigned a companion, and
yes.
you'll find that out once you get there who right. that is, and you'll do the morning routine like other missionaries in terms of you get up at 6:30, do companionship study and gospel study and stuff like that.
Yep. So we have a companion. I'm pretty sure it's just the same companion for the full 3 months. We also have districts. I don't know how that's going to work out. But yeah, you get up early,
Yeah. And I imagine Sundays you'll go to church somewhere, but you probably still do performances and stuff even on Sunday.
Yeah, on Sundays, we have church in the morning or late morning, and then I think we have like 2 hours of like downtime, and then there is a concert every Sunday, the Love of the Savior concert, and that one is indoors and.
Yep. Oh, that's nice. It'll be indoors. Some AC. So I didn't put this on the agenda, but it just occurred to me. Yeah, as performing missionaries, you're going to be performing out of doors most of the time, right? So it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. There's going to be bugs.
Be prepared. I'm being prepared. Bringing lots of sunscreen, lots of bug spray. And also note that pretty much the whole summer you're going to be in long sleeves and long pants because of your costume. And even for the rehearsals in May, they say no shorts for rehearsing. It's just long pants. So get some good breathable exercise pants, maybe a thin long sleeve shirt. So, and it's humid. It's on a river.
It's right on the Mississippi. Yep. It was, as those of you who've done your church history, it was swampland and still very humid there. It was swampland when the early Latter-day Saints, Joseph Smith and the Saints, bought it, and they drained the swamp and made a town out of it. But anyway, okay. Let's see. Let me look back at our agenda, see what else we were gonna talk about.
For the housing, I believe. I'll probably be able to give more information whenever I come back. But what I've been told is that there's a house for the elders and a house for the sisters. And I don't know if that's just for the band or if that's all the performing missionaries, but we have it's a house, a little cabin or something. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be anxious to learn more about that because I've been to Nauvoo a time or two over the years, and they're all this like kind of red brick and and there's places you visit as tourists, but I know there's a lot of homes like that you don't ever go into. And is that where the missionaries live? I don't know.
I was told we're in the kind of middle of nowhere by some cows. So
Oh, okay. Well, we'll find that out. The only other thing I saw that we wanted to touch on was, or that I thought would be interesting was, they gave you a list, like a checklist of assignments to do. Do you want to tell a little bit more about
yes.
that?
So once you get accepted into as a performing missionary, it may be different in future years with different leaders, but we use a Google Classroom, and that has dozens and dozens of assignments. If you're an actor or singer, then you will have way more assignments than any of the band or technician people. So what I had to do, there were some driving safety videos, some safe use technology stuff. Maybe talk about phone stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Songs to learn. So there's a couple of songs, like songs you have to sing, like to sing to learn, even if you're for the band and technicians. And then there's also some they post some of the concerts just to listen to and watch and get used to. A couple other logistical things like a pass ID for getting a plane ticket, a couple other housekeeping things like that.
Okay, cool, very good. And I think I asked you about uh, full-time proselytizing missionaries nowadays all have to have their own phone, and the church installs some software on their phone so they can only access the church-approved apps. That's not the case with you. You will bring your own phone, but still, church communication rules are probably in effect. Like you could call home probably once a week, like other missionaries.
Everything is pretty much the same regarding technology, and most of the things in missionary handbook all applies to the Nauvoo performing missionaries, except for some obvious ones that would be apparent to our job.
Right.
But you don't have to install anything on your phone. You don't have to get a new SIM card. But you can only contact people once a week. You can just use normal text. Same applies. Rules apply where you have to be, in the open, or you probably have the same rules with your companions.
Right.
But they're just because it's only 3 months. They're just they don't want to deal with that, and they're just trusting them to deal with that.
And one of the other differences, it is common for the family to go visit their performing missionary during the summer, and we're going to do that. In June, we rented an Airbnb or Verbo or something. So we're going to go to Nauvoo and stay for a few days, and we're going to see Abe. But and that's okay. They do tell parents and family members not to distract the missionary. You're not supposed to go out to eat with them. But you can go to their performances and you can say hi to them briefly. But they're missionaries, they're full-time missionaries. You're not supposed to distract them. So we'll, of course, try our best to keep those rules.
Let's see. I was going to say the band used to have huge folders of music because the band has like 133 songs, and then each year they just add more, I bet. And so it used to be a huge packet of music, but now it's all electronic. So all the people in the brass band will have their own little tablet, which has all of the music. So
do you have a tablet? Do you need one?
No, they provide.
They provide.
Us. Yeah, they provide it for us. And so I've never really used that software of like the music. It's becoming increasingly common for musicians to have that.
Okay.
So just a note.
Cool. Let's see. Is there anything we missed? It looks like we hit everything. Anything else you can think of that the audience might want to know before we wrap this up?
Oh, I'm sure there's a few things we missed.
Yeah, if I missed anything, I'll try and post it on the website or add additional links or things to the web post on this topic.
Oh, temple attendance.
Oh, that's a good
Say.
Yeah.
So in previous years, the temple was always open on Monday, which is our P day. This year is a little different. Hopefully, it's not like this in future years, but the temple is actually closed on Mondays this year. And so for us, we're going to have to go at like, we're going to have to do like 6 a.m. sessions on Tuesdays before the performances start. And so hopefully in the future, it'll be better so that you'll be able to go to the temple on your P days.
Yeah, because you don't have to be endowed to be a Nauvoo Performing Missionary. Right. Abe did recently receive his endowment, so he's anxious to go back. And typically, I mean, since the Nauvoo temple is right there, once a week, the missionaries are able to go to the temple. And it sounds like, for whatever reason, they're not going to be open on your P day anymore, but they'll still make sure you have opportunities to go to the Nauvoo temple. So that'd be really cool,
right?
To go do a session there. Okay, very good. Well, do you mind, Abe, maybe finishing with your testimony, and then we'll wrap this up? Is that all right?
Sure thing. I have just testimony of the power of music and how much good music can bring the spirit, and because music is the international language, and you can feel of the love of the Savior through music. And I know that through our example, through our actions, through smiles, we can share the Savior's love.
Great, thanks, Abe. I'll echo that. This is an awesome opportunity to share the love that the Lord has for all of His children through music, and we're super excited that you get to be a missionary and share the gospel in this really unique way. And I'll also leave you with my testimony of the Savior. Jesus lives. He died for us. He's our Savior and Redeemer. He guides us through living prophets in the church today. We are so blessed to be living in a time where we have the gospel restored. So grateful that Abe has this opportunity to be a missionary and share the gospel this way. And anyway, we look forward to your reports throughout the summer, and at the end of the summer, we'll get a full lengthy report as well. So until then, thank you all for watching and listening, and we will see you next time on the Latter-day Saint Mission Prep podcast. Bye.
Thank you.